ladies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Welcome back to the Vic Akers Wonderland podcast. My name is Lottie. I'm your host for tonight. Very frustrating weekend from the fixture of the season. And we all know the reason why it's the fixture of the season. It's one of the biggest games of the season for everybody. And it was just a very massive, frustrating one. As always, I am joined by Matt. Matt, how are you?
I'm not too bad. At least my weekend wasn't completely wrecked, shall we say, by the men's and women's results. I also had my games on Saturday, and it went well above the original plan. So I'm happy about that. But just to make you all laugh, I had my first shot of the game. I won the game in one of the games, and it went basically into the street the next day. So they asked me what was going on, and I said I thought we were playing rugby. So hope that's made you all chuckle a little bit.
No, it did. It did. As I was saying, it's the biggest fixture of the season. London derbies at the Emirates are nothing short of dramatic. Let's just say 56,000 people against the reigning WSL champions. A lot of controversy in this game. I think the biggest question around this game before we dive into the game is, could it be solved by 3 letters? VAR. Oh, God. If we're being honest, Chelsea now 33 games in without a single loss for a while. Whereas we've had a very shaky start. Would you say that's fair, Matt, to this season?
Yeah, I'll probably say that.
With an even mix of memorable and unforgettable moments.
Yeah. If you're going to talk about the referees, or do you want to hold off on the referees for the moment, or that question?
Say what you're going to say, it's fine.
So I've had this idea for a while that essentially each season the PGMOL, I had to make sure I got the letters right there, the Referee Association, they keep adding more rules to the game. And I think what's happened now is instead of simplifying these rules, they're actually causing too many second and third thoughts. So I think we'll probably talk about this later on in the game when one of the goals did go in but was disallowed. There was that hesitancy. I think if you count the clock, there was about 15 seconds before she eventually did not award the goal. That time, you can see it in the fans' faces. The fans are jumping up and down thinking that they've got something, and it's just not good enough. My issue is if you do implement VAR, all the teams have to have it in the stadiums. Now, let's take London City Lionesses, where they play at Dartford. Dartford's a National League team, or for those that prefer the original term, it's a non-league team, as they like to say, which I don't understand why you call it non-league when in fact, realistically they are in the league, they're just not playing at a professional level. But just for me, basically all these rules have caused so much chaos that you don't know whether or not you're coming and going, and it's probably actually caused more harm to the state of play as we're seeing in both sets of men and women's football, shall we say, because the referees aren't too sure what to give. And so instead of having like common sense or having the ability to define the rules themselves. They are always second guessing themselves, and that makes them vulnerable, shall we say, to these issues. And I've said it for a long time. I think there was a run that I did about 5 or 6 years ago when we're doing this pod of that the referees need help, and it would also help if they were professional. At the moment, remember, they are still part-time in this league, because we haven't had any information to say, oh yeah, all our refs are actually 100% professional. So that's the state of play. You've got international superstars across the league that are being judged on how they're being how the game is going by someone that's basically doing this as a second gig, really. It's not fair, and it's not in anyone's right minds to see that this should continue. Hopefully it can be amended, but I don't know if VAR is the answer, as we have seen in the men's game. But then again, you saw it in the Champions League final, especially with even Paredes' own goal, that it works fine because it was implemented correctly. And on that basis, if it's implemented correctly, it's great. You can also look to another time that Arsenal have been on the receiving end of one, and that was the Conti Cup final where Myra Ramirez scored, only for that to be overturned because of the handball in build-up by Aaron Cuthbert. So if the women can do it fine, why do the men dilly-dally is the question. But at the end of the day, the referees need help. Is VAR the answer? At this moment in time, for me, no.
Personally, I think VAR is not the answer. Sonia Bonpasta, Rene can call for VAR all they like, but if you haven't got the fundamentals right in the first place in terms of refereeing, of like even the basic rule as of offside, I think you're basically set up to fail, and we saw that evidently on Saturday. I think there was a lot of calls in that situation that were simply just not good enough, and the result should have been 3-1. I've had fans that I know of across the league that absolutely hate Arsenal's guts, and they hate Chelsea just as much. But they said we got done up 2 points. But you can always look at it this way: we made Chelsea drop 2 points. Now City are top of the league, they took hold of the opportunity to go and beat Everton, which I'm sure we'll have a chat about later. But
yes, I was at that game.
Yeah, this game left me absolutely fuming. I did get told off by someone's mum for my language that I used, and I really, really did not care. Put it that way, but it's a case of that culture isn't acceptable. Well, it isn't acceptable, but it's the way it's going, unfortunately, and it's not how I normally behave, but hey ho. Here we go, I suppose. Right, so Alessia Russo's late volley helped us rescue a point against Chelsea at a packed-out Emirates. Alyssa Thompson opened her WSL account for the first half for Chelsea. She found the equaliser, and then the equaliser came through Stina Blackstenius, only for the goal to be ruled out for an alleged handball. Right, Mel, I know you missed most of the first half, but have you seen all the videos of this alleged handball?
Yes, I have. I'll just quickly talk about Alessia Thompson's goal because I have actually watched it back, and it's a pet peeve. You back off, and then Lottie does the wrong thing in the end. She backs off Thompson. She follows her player and then decides, oh, I need to get back in there to get ready for the cross. And because she hasn't done that, she hasn't told someone to go and follow Alessia Thompson. Alessia Thompson's gone and got the goal because she's the free player on the edge of the box and no one's closed her down. Really poor defending, I think, throughout that first half. it's a bizarre one, because usually when Arsenal go against Chelsea, you do think back and how they've had some really solid defensive displays, but that first half, I don't know what was going on, whether or not they had their Weetabix or whatnot. That in that first half, nothing seemed to be great. But the goal itself. Now, there's arguments already that it shouldn't have been a corner in the first place. When you go and slow down it, I don't care what people are saying at this point. When you slow down because it's important in this case. You slowed it down. Is it a corner? Yes, because it comes off Lucy Bronze's knee. So that nails the argument that it shouldn't have been a corner in the first place. It's because there's definitive proof that it's come off Lucy Bronze's knee. So it is a corner. The next one is about whether it's a handball. Now, there is proof out there, and this is one of the issues that I have, because at any angle in the ground you can look at, and it does not look like Stina Blackstenius has handled the ball. Now, the other alternative is one thing that I always look at is there anyone appealing for anything? Chelsea players aren't appealing for it. Now, if the Chelsea players aren't appealing for it, they think it's a goal. So that is the next signal. So I wonder if the linesman has thought that she's offside, she's handled the ball when she's tried to move her hand away. Now, on the video evidence, simple, Stina hasn't. Her hand's there. It looks like she's made it to move towards the ball, but in the end, she hasn't touched the ball, and that is what the issue is. And it should have counted. And it was just one of those where I screamed. I actually made, because I was walking back when this goal went back in. I was nearly at the house. I actually made my neighbour jump because of Lottie's laughing, by the way, because of the goal. But it wasn't the first time that this happened during the game. It was just a bit of an oddity, really, to see something like that. If there was ever like a classic WSL montage, something like that's going to be put in the title. I remember when they used to do goalkeeper DVDs of all the goalkeeper howlers and things like that. That would probably be on there. They don't do them anymore, because what's a DVD player to those people who are under the age of 20 at this moment in time?
I'd say 25, but okay.
25. Yeah, whatever it may be. But yeah, at this moment in time, if that's a proper blooper, I know we've had a few of them in the past, but oddly enough, whenever there's a blooper, it is usually Stina Blackstenius involved.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think for me, when that goal went in, obviously I was in the stands in block 2, with the gang, so to speak. I might have accidentally forgot that I've got a grade 2 tear in my meniscus, and I was so happy to see that goal go in. Halfway through my celebration, my knee decided to cut out, so I almost fell on my face, which wasn't really worth it, but I did pay for it over the weekend. But thankfully we're all right now. I was very careful for the rest of that game, but it doesn't matter what angle you watch that from, there is no handball. For me, there is zero handball. And you look at the positioning of the referee. I didn't notice until someone pointed out to me. The referee can see it. Where's your handball? Where's the explanation? And it's just really frustrating. I know in the men's game, like in the we had in the World Cup, things were explained, but things like that need to be explained. Otherwise, you're going to have loads of fans just go at you, and which they did. When the teams were in their huddles at full time, those refs got made known that they messed up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't very pleasant, but hey ho, it made most of us feel better. Second half, kind of the goal went in from Alyssa Thompson, and we just wanted to get back into it. We had a Beth Mead in swing for which was deflected off Erin Cuthbert. Again, Hannah Hampton saved them again. Katrina Macario kept Daphne busy as well. The save from Macario, she looped it up onto the crossbar before Captain's follow-up header was straight at Van Domstar. In terms of goalkeeping, how difficult is it to like save both of those back to back?
When it hits the woodwork or anything like that, it's more about where you're positioned. So there was, I'll go back to last month when there was a shot from outside the box that I faced and it's gone into the top corner. I didn't know much about it because, first of all, no one's pressed the player to begin with, and then second of all, it would have been tough for me to get across to that sort of side. But it's just one of those where you have to rely on your instinct to, and that's where your footwork and your goalkeeper coach help you out in those sort of scenarios when it looks like it's going to hit the woodwork. Because at that moment in time, if it hits the woodwork, the ball's still back in play, and it's at that second moment. If anyone gets the rebound, it's an easy tap in. So the most important thing to remember, if you're a goalkeeper, is to make sure that you get yourself back up and make yourself as big as possible to try and deflect the next shot. I'm sure Chelsea won't see it as unlucky or anything like that. It's just a very good shot, and it's just happened to hit the woodwork, but it should have gone in.
Oh no, absolutely. It's just thank you for the woodwork for saving our bacon. I mean, we had continued looking for levellers through Caitlin Ford. She skinned Lucy Bronze down on the left hand side, drifted into box 4, finding Mariona, but ball control wasn't fantastic. Let's just say that, which is unusual for her. And then also Alessia Russo clashed in with Millie Bright. But other than that, it was 1-0 at half time. Overall, for me, it wasn't the end of the world. Being cheated out of the first goal that we scored by Stina, it irritated me, but I was still looking at it as like, okay, we've still got another 45 minutes to turn this round. It's only 1-0. What were your thoughts at half time, Matt?
At half time, I was in the middle of tunnels, so I wasn't able to watch the game, but I've managed to pick up a little bit. And it did have a feel of defensive frustration more than anything else. The fact that the team weren't up to scratch as they usually are in these games. Again, I'll go back to some of the games in the past where they've been so defensively solid that I think there was times where you could look at Arsenal at home in this game that they will go all out for it, make sure that they are solid at the back. And I think we're now seeing that without Leah Williamson as such to be the, I don't want to say wing woman or hype woman, but that's essentially what she is when it comes to these games, because no one knows more than Leah Williamson what these games mean. And to get it to, I think that was kind of missing. The next closest player that was on the pitch was actually Lotte Wubben-Moy. But I think she'll be disappointed by that first half performance herself. I'm not going to lie. But you're going in and it's only 1-0. And usually when Chelsea go 1-0 up, they'll be really, really bad for most of the second half. But no team will put the sword, take advantage of that. Take any advantage from that, and they go and win 2 or 3-0, and it's by the odd goal or pure luck, and it's the Chelsea way. In inverted brackets, it does get annoying. A lot of Chelsea fans are getting fed up of this sort of ideology. Well, it's in your DNA. It's been in your DNA since basically Emma Hayes has been at the club, and now you're saying that you play even boring football. I if it was 2 or 3 at halftime, I think that's when the panic button would have hit, and that would have been. I would not have liked to have been in the changing rooms if it was 2 or 3-0 that the team was losing by at halftime. I think they'll. You could probably say just on hitting the woodwork alone, if they were 2-0 down, heads would have probably dropped. Rennie may not have been able to reconfigure the team and get them rounded back up again to be able to really push on. But it's been a problem recently for Rennie as well. She's not really found the code to beat Chelsea that Jonas Eideveld does. I know some of you are going to scream about that, but it's at this moment in time, it's two times played against Chelsea and lost both of them. Lost one of them, drawn the other one. On mute.
Whoops. Sitting there talking away to myself, myself and I. Second half kind of came back and they could have kind of made it 2-0 and just buried the game, but that cheeky back heel from Lucy Bronze did find captain, but the wonderful Lotta Wubben-Moy decided to make 2 absolutely brilliant blocks. And then the ball fell to Niamh Charles, and Van Domsel was in the way. So it was fair enough to say we were going to have a bit of a spicy second half because they know 1-0 is not enough. Playing a low block against us is effective, but we've kind of got round that now. And I think that's what drove me mad in the first half. So, again, I know we've been talking about Stina's goal this whole time. It wasn't even in the first half, but 52 minutes. Mel Bergin, the wonderful referee, ruled out the goal and gave a free kick to Chelsea. Don't know how the free kick was there. That was just confusing in itself. But we made a double substitution, Taylor Hines and Olivia Smith, making an immediate impact, and she kind of drifted past Niamh Charles.
Well, this seems to be a problem with England and left backs. Is all the left backs seem to lose their players. They sort of, I don't want to say daydream, but they almost just have that constant. They don't have the 100% concentration level, and when you lose a player, you've got to make sure that you're on the mark, getting ready, and trying to get back into it. Almost like I'm trying to think of something really quick here. Almost like Usain Bolt sort of style of reactions. You've lost the ball, you've got 9 seconds to go and win it back, sort of thing. But it is an issue. I do think Niamh Charles is probably one of England's best left backs at the moment. That bear in mind, even though she can pretty much play across the whole of that back line. But it was nice to it's nice to see that Arsenal were looking at holes to prod and probe to try and find some ways to get into this Chelsea attack this Chelsea team, shall I say? A lot of teams. Let's say the West Hams and Liverpool, because they are bottom of the league at this moment in time. If I don't think they would have the knowledge, know-how, or the player capacity to go and go, right, okay, I'm going to go and attack their left back, or anything like that. But at this moment of time, during the game, when it's you versus Chelsea, you're just hoping to get an advantage, and you expose Chelsea a little bit there on the left back side. Probably means that you may be shown the keys to how to get at this Chelsea side from now on, which means that Chelsea might not have it as easy as they've had it so far under Sonia Bompasta. That loss has to happen soon.
that first season was always going to be easy because it's an inherited team. Emma Hayes had it working like a machine, and now our Bompasta's got to make it work for her. And I've got to be honest with you, I know Ellie Carpenter is an amazing footballer, but she don't fit at Chelsea.
No.
She looks so out of place. Her passing is it was appalling. It was great for us, don't get me wrong, because we got the ball back. But it was just so awful to watch. And I know she's worked with Sonia before, but the system that Ellie is used to, it doesn't work. And she hasn't got DVD either.
Yeah. Call us Schneidertwine because that don't impress us much. To be honest, it always doesn't make sense when a player like her ends up at Chelsea. I mean, probably would even make it even more bizarre to go, well, where does she fit in the WSL? I would actually say if there was going to be a team in WSL she would fit, I don't think she would fit Arsenal. I don't think she would fit at Manchester United. I don't think she would fit. I don't think she fits at Chelsea. I actually think she would fit a team like Newcastle or one of the teams that are just about to get promoted into the league, shall we say.
Okay.
She is a Champions League player. I will say that. We definitely know that from experience, but she's just not suited to the way that some of these top teams, in inverted commas, play. And I think she thrives on playing like Joe Montemuro sort of football, where she can attack the space freely and bomb forward. So in that case, she should have realistically been over at Juventus when Joe Montemuro was there. But I think she'll probably be suited to that league. Maybe she might end up leaving, but we'll wait and see what happens in that case. But for the moment, it does feel like a lot of Chelsea's transfers at the moment. They're trying to
Up the ante.
There's another phrase. I'm thinking of some sort of word where you up street market or something like that, where you're overcompensating for players by paying over the odds. So
unfortunately, that is how Chelsea money launder. No one can tell me otherwise because they've sold their women's club. So don't even. Yeah,
I don't think Germa is a £800,000.
She hasn't even played any minutes. I haven't seen her play minutes. Solid 90 minutes. I've never seen her play a solid 90 minutes for them. I don't watch Chelsea very often, but I look at the team sheets all the time.
I don't think Alyssa Thompson's even £1 million player, and even though it was like 1.3 million or something bizarre like that,
it's just
you're basically getting these players in, but it's round pegs, square holes. A square pegs, round holes, whatever way you're meant to do it. Either way, it just feels like you're doing it just for the sake of it. And in that, but whereas you look at how Arsenal spent money in the past, so like Kyra Cooney-Cross playing that release, was she needed at that moment in time? No, but
now,
yes, because Leah Valti's moved on. Who else can you say? Arsenal tried to buy Leslie Russo and Chloe Lacasse, and eventually they did get them on freeze. But then you've also got the likes of Olivia Smith, most expensive WSL transfer between clubs. Is she £1 million player? Well, she's playing one. She's fitted into the team. Okay, she's not scoring a goal every single week, but she's making an impact. And
the thing is, we're also not a one goal scoring team. We score from all over the pitch.
No.
If you look at her performance on Saturday, she continued to cause so many problems down the right. Niamh Charles. Like she had absolute chaos with her. Niamh couldn't keep up with her. You've had there was a cross from her that went to Chloe Kelly at the back post, but Chloe didn't get it off, and I think there is probably some fitness issues there with Chloe Kelly. I think because if you're asking me, she's a starter.
I did see when we were at Leicester, she had a strap around one of her legs. So it does look like she is carrying some sort of injury. So I just wonder if post this week, because of the importance, I hope she's not selected for the next England games as well. And hopefully she can get some rest. But as well as it being a friendly as well, that probably might actually help her a little bit if she just says, look, I need a rest. Otherwise it's going to get worse. And look at what's happened with the unfortunate news that's come out today about Casey Reed.
You read my mind. But yeah, no, Katie Reid has joined Michelle Adjumang in the ACL recovery room. We obviously wish her a speedy recovery, and she'll hopefully be better, stronger next season. I think it's safe to say she's out for the season, Matt, right?
Yeah, so roughly 9 months. So December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. She'll be back just in time before the start of the new season, September. Yeah. That's if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, let's just see what happens. So, speedy recovery, Katie, and we'll see you next season.
It may mean transfer business in the January window again.
Yeah, we'll see. Or we might actually manage to keep hold of Jenna Niswanger now.
That's if she'd be willing to play as a centre back.
I'm sure she can. I'm sure I read somewhere
she can play. She can play left back and on the left wing as well as in the middle of the park. But I don't think she's actually played as a centre back. To be honest, you don't want someone like Jenna Niswanger because I think she's 5'3" as your centre back. It doesn't.
There is nothing wrong with being 5'3" and being a full back. Thank you very much.
If this is going to be apples and pears about it, height wise, some of your best players are defend the centre backs, and they're usually the tallest players on the pitch.
There's a reason why I dislike Wendy Renard. Say that way. Yes, and it's mostly due to her height and her oily, odd comments about lesbians taking over football. But yeah, I didn't understand that. But anyway, we're not going to dive into that because that's a whole different can of worms. Freedom Arnhem produced an inch-perfect cross to find Russo at the back post for a volley. It was way too much for Hannah Hampton. And basically the Emirates ruptured. I'm not going to lie. It ruptured. Like, that place absolutely went...
I screamed the house down.
In flames. We did think it was the winner as Frida poked past Hampton, but it was offside. Again, these linos need to get their eyes tested. I saw someone throw glasses at the lino. So this was an offside. I mean, can you help me out here, please? Because I'm going to get really angry again, and I don't want to talk about this one.
So what I really love about the pitch at the Emirates is that they've got definitive lines between the long side of the grass and the short side of the grass. So when there's that little line, that's where I go to judge like offsides or anything like that. First and foremost, I don't use anything else. I don't know whose foot it is. I'm going to say it's Millie Bright's, but I think it's not. Either way, a Chelsea foot is there. I think there's like a not half a centimetre, I'm going to say, between that Chelsea foot and Freedom Arnhem. And Freedom Arnhem's behind. Now, if I can see it at home, you can see it in the stadium. Who's put the flag up? Has it been the linesman, or has the referee decided, no, I think this is offside? And that's the worry, is that it's killing the game because of these calls. I mean, everyone loves last-minute drama. It is, let's take the Conti Cup final at Wolverhampton a couple of years back. Okay, there was a lot of drama in that, but at the end of it, we have this moment of Stina Baxinius going through on goal and scoring the winner, or even go to Lisbon, who goes and scores the winner. Okay, it's not last minute, but it's nearing the end of the game. Who goes and scores? It's brilliant team play, but it's Stina Baxinius again. And it's just one of those things where I actually wonder what would have happened if Frida left it for Mariona and Mariona goes on and scores instead. If she
Probably
gets
would
the
have been the
shot,
same thing.
I
And
know
sorry,
because
but we weren't just playing 11 player Chelsea, we were playing 14-man Chelsea.
Mariona was well behind Frida, and if Frida just stopped moving and let's just say it opened the legs so that the ball could go straight past, she's not interfering with play. She's let the ball go, and that would mean Mariona has the chance to knock it into the back of the net, and that's with confidence that she goes and scores. That's 2-1. Maybe they decide, right, okay, it's not offside. But we're sitting here and we're talking about offsides again. And
it's basic fundamentals, and they didn't get it right.
You know what the good news is? The good news is that Arsene Wenger's new law, which will be essentially that if the attacker has to be full, like head and shoulders in front of the defender to be considered offside. I think that rule comes in next season. Or it might be coming in for the World Cup, and then they've got to implement it from there. But that just means that instance like this, I mean, it's onside, doesn't matter. It's 2-1 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, but unfortunately it wasn't. But I think for me, overall, we don't need VAR. We don't need a bloody that stupid rebrand that the Women's Professional League Limited have redone to just put the Championship 2 steps back to WSL 2. What we did need them to do in the summer is to invest in the training of our referees.
Yeah.
This game is a prime example of not getting the basics right. And for that, we have suffered for it, and we will. But the one thing I do take away from this game is that there is a glimmer of a hope in January. That game is ours.
Yeah.
That is the game I'm looking at now, and I'm feeling confident because they scored one. All of a sudden, we woke up and said, hang on a minute, this is our house. I know we'll be at Chelsea, and it's very different, but this is our house. This is not how this happens. Yeah. It's only the second time Chelsea have won at the Emirates. Last year, the wheels fell off the bus, let's be real. Jonas Out was outside the stadium. He walked off without saying a word to the team while the girls were walking around. Watched him go, and I thought, yeah, that was it. A few days later, he was gone, and the boss was back in charge, and we went on to win the Champions League. But I think we've got their card this season. I don't know which game it will be, but we will beat them this season in something. And I think their days are numbered, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to actually give props out to Manchester United because they have been defensively really good this season. Like they've actually been very hard to beat. They'll look at some of the games, like the game against Arsenal. That could have quite easily been 1-0 to either team. Ended up being a fair result in the end with a 0-0. You know what? I'm not really even impressed by Man City. And I was at the game against Everton this weekend, yesterday, and like Everton had the chance to equalise and potentially even win the game, and it was such a result where you just think that shouldn't have happened to Everton. Everton should have come away with something, and it didn't, and that surprises me. That how can this City team continue to be top of the league at the current moment, but they're not even playing as that great. Okay, they've got players coming back from injury in Lauren Hemp who got a couple of minutes. To be honest, it wasn't enough to really consider what she gave to the game because the game was sort of dying out at that time. But this season, I do think Chelsea need to watch their back because and I think the biggest telltale sign will be what happens in January. Because if Chelsea go out and end up buying another US superstar, where haven't they've got forward? They'll probably end up going and getting someone in the midfield now. I think that's the one place they don't have a US international at this moment. in time. So if they do that, then I imagine that either way, that means that they're just doing it for the sake of it. In which case, they're panicking. Whereas I think if Arsenal go into the window, it will probably be a loanee signing at centre back, shall we say? But for now, I think Chelsea's days. I think you're right. Chelsea's days are numbered because they're. You know what? I'm going to say it now because London City Lionesses have done it this season. They've QPR'd it, buying quality players, but they don't know what to do with them. For those that are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, when QPR got promoted one season, they ended up buying superstars like Julio Cesar, Jibril Cisse. I can't remember a couple of them at the top of my head, but essentially it was basically a whole new team. And they got relegated with like a low ranking of like 20 odd points, something silly like that. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But would it come to that effect where Chelsea will eventually keep on buying and nothing sticking? Possibly, because sooner or later your luck runs out. And let's be honest, for the last 5 years, they have had the biggest luck of them all by somehow winning the leagues by odd points.
No, absolutely. I mean, let's just see how the rest of the season plays out. I probably won't get over this game. I'm absolutely livid about it still. I'm actually emotionally tired as well because that game put me through the ringer. But this is all we've got time for today. But we will be back with a new podcast dropping on Friday night after the Bayern Munich game and just before Spurs. You can find the pod at VAW Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Yeah, Blue Sky. Sorry, I do apologise. I couldn't think of what the app was called. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky at Lottie_AWFC. Matt, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at MattLR28 across all platforms.
Okay, and we'll see you next time. And for now, come on, you Gunners.